Welcome back to Workers and Resources. Last time we left off with part of Padonin being constructed. We are still lacking our connection to the residential area, but we are slowly getting there. The last main thing that is urgently needed to get this area up and running, which hasn't been planned out yet, is water. And I think we will plan that out this episode, though not quite at the start. I need to think about it a little bit. We will probably have it over here, which will be in range of this tram stop, or this train stop also. And that should give us the ability to run water purification and distribute it locally. And I think it will be truck-based. I don't think I want running water in this area. At least not to start out with. We can always upgrade it. I will probably make plumbing happen with pipes sooner than later, rather sooner than later. But water, I don't know. I always like the idea of having trucks carry the water and the population being a little bit more careful with how much they are using. I don't know if we can get a water pipe through here. Yes, we can, easily. Okay. Then we'll have a water switch and a sewage switch here. And that will take care of that housing block. And we'll also drop a water and sewage substation in here somewhere. Maybe next to the hospital. Here. That should be fine. Yeah, I'll do water and water purification and the loading facility. I guess we don't need a loading facility, we can just use the plant itself. Yeah. Here we've decided to build a bypass road, which is currently on its way to be constructed. We'll set that up as a main road. And that as well. And that should hopefully alleviate traffic by getting rid of all of the vehicles that want to turn left from this intersection, and they can turn around earlier. Because it looks like many of those cars want to turn right only, and they decide to only merge into the right lane very late. Alternatively, I can try and expand that intersection, but node is too far, so I would have to drop in a traffic sign, and maybe that would help. I want to see if that has any effect. So if I drop down a traffic sign here and expand that intersection, it's still too far. I'll have another one here. We'll drop all of that on the intersection and see how early they merge. Now the traffic light is all the way here, they have to merge way earlier, and it doesn't really change anything. They still have... yeah, the traffic light should be here, but they should start merging here, so it doesn't really make any difference. Let's shorten that intersection again back to what it was before. I think now they're merging earlier. I think now it's working with this signpost. Oh no, they're merging back left. Never mind, they're still stupid. They're merging left and right, and oh my god, they're crazy. Alright, let's put in a traffic light here. 2 cycles. Interval of 60. And let's remove this sign again once the road clears up. We have to wait a minute until the light switches. And then for this side to not have any traffic. I guess we could make 3 cycles and tell the first one will generate 4 cycles, with all of them being red except for 1. So that should clean up this whole area. Come on. There we go. And it is gone. Now this one can be put back to regular traffic rules. They're driving very strangely. I like the idea of sending people to the bus and train platform before they choose other tasks locally. That is a pretty good thing to maybe get people to go to a heating plant or a power plant if they were on like public transportation routes, on public, yeah. And it would give them enough workers at all times. And then if they can't get on a ride, they would jump on a local workplace. Let's see if this single residential building here will help provide enough workers for the area, so the power plant may at some point run at full capacity at all times. We are out of money again. We did import some oil. Well, we tried to. We haven't exported fuel and bitumen in a while. It is set to export. Maybe it is trying... Oh, we got some negative money. Maybe it is trying to import oil before trying to export, which would be slightly annoying. We don't have money to import anything, so you trying to import things right now is not the best thing to happen. Are you trying to import oil again? Yes. Can you like export oil, export fuel and bitumen maybe? Or do we have to wait for clothing? I know, I will turn off oil imports. You loaded 0.13 tons. You know what? Go back to your workplace. Jesus Christ. Yes, do an export. Thank you. We'll get oil soon. We still have some in storage. So, water purification. All we need is a water well. We'll make one that takes workers, so we'll set up a large water purification area again. Basically on this road, I guess. We'll use the electricity from the existing substations, I guess. put in 2 water towers again, because I like that concept. Big water pump. The water to be purified. That's too short. Was that water pump? Yes, it was connected to electricity, okay. That will provide water pressure. And we'll have a large water treatment plant, which will require chemicals to function. And of course workers. And that one will pump into another water tower. And that will be the source of water for the town in the future, but at the start we will just pick up water from here with a distribution office. I guess I could just pipe everything. I don't need a distribution office for water. I'll just run water right away, I guess. Water conservation be damned. Have our main switch, which will distribute here into the commercial district and into the industrial area. And then we have our switch to distribute it inside this area. Change of plans a little bit. There we go. So that will provide water here. If we start providing water like this to the area, we will definitely have to put in a sewage system as well, because the trucks will not be able to handle running sewage from flowing water. That will provide water to this area. Don't have any water up here yet, or any need for it. But we do have a need for hooking up sewage distribution. Well, removal, more likely. And where do I want that? I thought here would be convenient, since if we're going to have a high density industrial area on this side, all we need is a sewage pipe dug through this mountain. which is kind of ridiculous. I did that once. It works. This is... I think this is elevated. 17. Yeah, this is a high point. This is a low point. This is really low, Pardonin. We built Pardonin inside a valley. Awesome. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, do we have material? Yes. Can change the landscape. We do have excavator range. Okay, so elevation is not great. We will have to pump up sewage, I think. Get a sewage switch here, and then try and hook up Pardonin to that one with a pump and use that one to move the sewage downhill into the discharge. So we gather up all the sewage, and then we pump it towards the sewage switch. If we get a proper slope going, that is. We have to be on this side of this ring. And that will allow us to hook up all the sewage connections over here and get it out. Gotta pump it through the industrial area. That will provide us some basic sewage handling. As long as we provide electricity inside the gravel processing area. All of these have electricity, so they should be fine. As long as this substation gets built. That should deal with sewage for the initial town. Electricity issues, of course. I assume we exported our fuel and bitumen. Looks like we did not. Now you are. Another thing I can do is unassign the fuel distribution office from that fuel station and let the railroad distribution office handle that. Which means we'll take our export fuel to refuel that station, not our domestic fuel. Doesn't make much difference, but just to state it. We might have to upgrade our industrial trains to move a little bit faster. They are holding up. Our passenger trains. The passenger train should have also moved into the end station. We have fuel there. You don't need to go to the fuel station. $140,000 rubles waiting for export. Okay. Some roads are getting upgraded to tram tracks. Why is there a snapping point here? Because there is a water switch. We'll build that later. Right now, let's upgrade these roads first. Yeah, there's plenty of material to export. Gotta do a few runs. Could also have a food factory, I guess. We turn 2 crops into 1 ton of food. So food sells for 650. Crops should therefore be 325 or less. And they're only 80. So we need a food factory, making our own food. Reduce imports a little bit there as well. We could import crops instead of food into these warehouses. Or make a dedicated area to turn it into food and use this as backup in case if we mess something up with our food production. We're back to 10% interest. because we're not repaying our interest rates, I guess. Let's borrow some money. Let them build everything. So the heating plant will require coal imports, which are only missing the train aggregate unloading platform and electricity. So once we have power in this area and everything connected with the conveyors, we can send coal here. We probably have to build another transformer from the switch. Wow, we used a lot of money real quickly. I took out 1,000,000 rubles loan and we're down to 270,000 already. Guess we had a lot of outstanding payments to do. So now the interest rate is back down to 9.7. .1% of a million. So this is 100, 10%, 1%, 0.1. So an extra interest rate of 3,000. On that loan. Maybe I do need more train cars, but man, they must be really expensive by now. Or we can buy 2 of them. Or wait. Oh, did we import a bunch of fabric and that's why we don't have any money? Yes, 400,000 in fabric. So we don't have any workers here anymore. Population is still looking okay, I think. Maybe a train just picked a bunch of people up and that's why they didn't walk to the clothing factory. Also, we should be making an export of clothing. 70 should be enough. Are we short on trains? It appears like we might have a shortage of trains a little bit. There's the clothing export. That's bound to make a little bit of money. Also short on oil again. I don't want to run out of oil, that would be bad. Oil is a cheap resource. We'll set it for import again. Hopefully we get the money going once the clothing gets exported. That fabric should last a while. Okay, the bypass road is built. That road is... Whew. That road's pretty bad. Oh my god, why is there so much traffic here? Since they have to turn into a single lane road, we're going to turn this into a single lane road very early on so they can all merge onto the right side. And thus when the light turns green, it should be easier to move into the intersection. I don't know why you turned left there. And this one will not need a traffic light because these sometimes will not move, and then these can move while they are on a red signal phase. But man, the traffic over here is getting excruciating. Let's just say these parking lots and this area was not designed with a reduction of traffic in mind. So they will have a somewhat bad time over here. Clothing has been loaded. Don't think it has been exported yet. And if it has, then we are short on money again. There it is. There's the money. Get all of these constructions started. Unloading platform. Conveyor belts that are necessary. And the substation with the wire. And then we should have heating in this area once we provide workers here. I haven't built the parking lot yet. guess I haven't built the parking lot on either end yet. Also, I don't want the vehicles to drive through the commercial district. They will drive on the outside into a dead end and then walk along the road into the building. That's the plan, at least. So much stuff to pay back. I am thinking about setting up industrial areas all around here, but I'm also thinking that I'm currently setting up a new town with its own industrial area, the gravel processing, and the potential for coal production. So I think like if I start more here, then I'm wasting more money if it doesn't work out. Now that we have workers on the train network, I guess I could have the facilities anywhere. How did our research go? Good. So we can make electronics now. We'll research that one. I don't think it does anything, but we'll research it. Because it tells you can build vehicles, but I think you can build them from the start without any limitations. We could turn the former rail construction office area into a production area with a really short import route. Water sewage would be a little bit of an issue. Electricity is already present. It is not a good wire though. That's a pretty terrible wire up here. Yeah, I guess the area is not really made for industrial use. Maybe we'll set up a factory inside Padonin commercial district, right next to the train platform. And then if we don't have enough workers, we can ferry in some extra. Next to the water treatment plant, we can have a food and alcohol production line. I don't know. I am very inconclusive this episode. Or unsure, rather. Get all of these upgraded as well. We have the dirt roads to drive around everything. And then this whole loop needs to be that road type as well. I mean, right now it's set up to just consume resources and have people living here without doing anything. We need the gravel processing to actually have a benefit from this area. We do have the very large train line right next to it, so we could move rails in from this side and have production facilities closer here in this area. So if we had a food factory, food factory. What about mechanical component factory? What about the electronics hall and slowly start working towards that? That stuff is expensive. Pollution, only 4 tons. We need plastics, electronic components and mechanical components, which all come into exist in a warehouse. So connecting that up to a rail line would be pretty simple. What other infrastructures in the way here? This one would make 2.8 tons per work day. This one would require a 1.9. Also 1.9 mechanical components. We could make way more than that. And plastics. $6.6. How much do we need on electronics? Not that much. So we would be making enough for domestic consumption and for exports, similar to clothing. It's just a case of the pollution too much. Walking distances are okay. And the amount of resources is so low that theoretically I could just store it in this warehouse and drive it to the factory by truck, rather than having it connected to the facility directly. So this warehouse would store plastic in addition to that. And that would allow us to make electronics. And then we could add mechanical components, electronic components to the mix to also build those. That one requires plastics, chemicals and steel. That one requires steel, but a lot of steel. Could get quite expensive. I'll only build one for now. The one that is slightly closer. And I can walk there already. So we could run this factory right now once it gets built. Once we get workers here, we could tell them to walk to the tram platform, then to the next platform and into here. But I mean, this is mostly for once this whole area is up and running, these workers can go into this area and then also select a workplace that is maybe a little bit more productive. Sure, build it if you can. It's fine. I think that road is upgraded, so we can put the footpath connection back for the water switch. I think we have to take out another loan. The penalty rates are probably outweighing not paying the loan, since we can't really cut off the rubles right now. Plus the interest rate is going down again if we do repay it early enough. No penalty rates right now. This is still climbing. I feel like we're in a sort of death spiral right now, so we have to make some money. We should still be able to set this town up. The question is if it will be profitable once it is up. With gravel, definitely not. I don't think gravel would make this area profitable at all. Okay, nothing assigned here. Let's get that assigned. Maybe I should add another. Maybe I'll add the electronics assembly hall here as well. If I can handle it by trucks, why not? 320 meters to that factory. I'll add an industrial area behind the TV station. And we'll use electronics. If we can get the walking distance to match this. We're in business. So this is short enough. Then it will work. Yes, it is short enough. Maybe not for all residential buildings in the area, but definitely short enough to make this a viable production area. TV station is way larger than it looks. I don't want a lot of resource traffic here. I think this road is a bad idea. We're going to move the road in from the highway. And we're going to use a dirt road to start out with. Then we need a distribution office that handles that, which is just going to be covered haul trucks. I need to bring the resources from this area here. And if this works fine, we might be able to drop in a warehouse closer with the distribution office closer. But to start out with, I will have a dedicated distribution office to carry resources from the existing warehouses. Come on, send more workers over there. Jesus. No one has moved into that building. Oh, we can change that. Why is that one so empty? Don't tell me we have problems with pollution again. No. I might have to get some more cars. people that live in this area who need the cars to go shopping, so might as well buy them some. Out of meat? Well, that's because of traffic issues. Significant traffic issues. This is ridiculous. Well, at least people are shopping here, so they are using the resources, even if they ran out of meat for a little bit. Distribution office, small one. Or do I want a different warehouse for that? No, we should be able to reuse that one. We don't need that much fabric in here. I'll build a distribution office here. And designate this warehouse to hold some mechanical and electronic components. And plastic. I should set all of this up already. It's going to disturb the existing production lines, but I guess it's fine. So, we'll use 50% for this. And let's see how the distribution is after. There's way too many mechanical components, so 10 of those. That's 40. $65, 100. And you can now import mechanical and electronic components, but I think you already have that set. Yes. And also plastic. And then these trucks will have to drive into this warehouse, dirt road, come back out through here along the bridge. No, they have to go onto the highway. So drive here and then maybe loop around and drive into this area. See if that works and if it will be profitable. Right now it's going to cost us a lot of money to actually import those resources. Well, still building things. Need a bunch of workers to finish the pipe, but all the resources are here. Same with all of these construction tasks. We can still pick them up, so if we have workers arrive here by train, but still taking a bit of time. Steel, bitumen export, doing nothing. I guess I need to also set up that they can actually bring those resources here. I have them set up for purchase, but not for delivery. Pause the game. And there we go, that's gonna be costly. I don't know if I have enough money to load a full train of that stuff. I would imagine not. Let's take out another loan. Because taking out loans is fun. Alright, we have some resources. We just have to wait for the building to finish. Two residential blocks are in range. We could add that one. We make a footpath connect from this side, I think. Don't think a dirt one would be sufficient. These ones up here are unfortunately too far away, it looks like. Well, it's fine. 2 buildings should be enough. The electronics assembly hall can employ 150 people. I guess it could be not enough, but we'll see. The distribution office should be easily built. The electronics hall will be a little bit more expensive. Still waiting on the road construction here. They are sending people, so it should be completed shortly. And over here we're waiting on machinery that is already arriving. We have to think about doing a proper road connection here somehow. Maybe we can use the road connection from the power plant to connect this up. I don't want this to be a main road, I don't think. But from the power plant, getting the resources through here, I think that would be okay. I know we have traffic jams and ambulances don't get to where they are needed. I know I gave you too many cars and not enough local employment. And now you're struggling. Also, we don't have enough sellers in this shopping center. Oh man, traffic. Yeah, the test bed of trying to hook up a village with personal vehicles, not going to happen anymore in the future. That is just a nightmare. We'll forget about that. It didn't happen. Why are the trains that empty? Should be okay. This year, birth rate is pretty close to death and escape rate. We have a lot of escapes right now. Sorry, we have a lot of deaths right now. Why do we have a lot of deaths right now? Is the clothing factory creating too much pollution? It is. I guess we can't run that clothing factory at full capacity. Oh my god, we're back to full on traffic jams. I don't think this is manageable. I don't want to rip up the whole Robodima town to get this to work. This is just... I could just abandon it and... let it sit there and... whatever. So are those people leaving? No, they are doing okay-ish. It's really those that are getting too sick. Yeah, we'll run the clothing factory at reduced capacity, I guess. Power plant's looking much better now, though the people over there, not so much. So that seems to be a self-regulating endeavor, having the people live directly next to the power plant if we are producing electricity for export. So we'll decrease that amount and just provide enough electricity for domestic consumption. can hook up any substation in this area. This is all just wind turbine territory. There's our warehouse. Should be 100. So how many people did we lose again? Can't get over 2,500 it looks like. I worry that this will become a traffic route for normal cars, so let's maybe say that no personal cars are allowed to travel into here as well. Or out of here. Well, no personal cars in that direction. Can't really prevent them from traveling through here, I guess. Hovering around 5.5 million rubles. Still left to repay. Our total amount to borrow went down. I don't know if this is in addition to what we already have borrowed or if it's the total amount. If I borrow again, I should take a look and see if that number decreases or not. that dirt road is going to be removed as soon as we have a proper road connection here. It should also be easier to access for delivering and picking up the constructed resources. I'm not sure about how to export them yet. Could make some room in this storage, exporting 50% of that, or decreasing something else to give us a little bit more storage, for example clothing. We shouldn't import any clothing anymore. So we could, well, that is our backup storage. We don't have any clothing here. The clothing is in that one. If we reduce that, we would do faster exports, but we would have less resources per train when we do an export. It's probably going to be me finishing up Pardonin, getting the gravel processing, and then I don't know if I can push this towards 10,000 workers with cars. Rovodima is a prime example of how fiddly it is. It's pretty bad. Maybe we need a traffic light here again. Traffic light, help us. And that one is just ripe for completely demolishing. Well, let's see if that helped. Let's turn that back into a right-of-way intersection. You guys suck at picking a lane. Honestly. Steel storage is on fire in Pardonin. That's expensive. But we were prepared, so it was okay. Life expectancy is back at an acceptable level. I don't think the clothing factory was responsible for that pollution spike. I have no idea why it suddenly shot up that much. I mean, it could be, but it's only 4 tons. It must be the combination of the power plant affecting everything in the surrounding area. Let me guess, part of Fukushima. Oh yeah. Who would have guessed that hooking up 2 parking lot areas in a 4-way junction would create a traffic jam? Who could have predicted that? It wasn't an issue when this area was less populated, but there's barely anyone working here anymore. Why is there so many cars? Are people trying to work in this area? We only have 300 workers in here. I'll turn off this thing. Go elsewhere to work. And this will remain a traffic light, I guess. At least the cars leaving are lining up in a nice single file because it's a 2-lane road, opposing directions. And they're not doing this nonsense. So the cars leaving from this side are very efficient. The cars arriving from here, not so much. To monitor the pollution in this area. It might still be too much. During winter it looks fine. It's turning a little bit yellowish. Guess we'll give it some time. Looks like the factory is almost set up. All resources for the current phase are present. Need 3 road cranes and One more construction phase after that. The distribution office down here should finish up by then as well. And we need a few trucks to carry the materials around. Out of meat. I don't know why, but... Well, my assumption is that the truck that is supposed to carry meat went on to refuel. Tram end station is in place and does have electricity. Oh, yeah, we need to assign that road construction. And then the tram depot. And then we can buy, as I said, 4 trams to start it out with. And we just need the last tram stop, plus the loop on both sides to completely be built. And we should have a functioning tram infrastructure for our access to the commercial district. I don't think I planned the pub out, did I? No. That will happen later. Maybe next to this area. I have a pub somewhere here. Distribution office is set up. We only need covered hull trucks. Now we wait for the factory. Increase the amount of workers allowed on the construction site, I guess, to finish the current one, and then 2 trucks full of steel to finish the rest. Guess we can't remove that sniping point still. Alright. Construction phase done. Let's see those steel deliveries and finish that building. Distribution office only for electronics. So we'll drop off electronics in this warehouse. We'll load resources for manufacturing from the other one. And that's the... we'll cycle all of them into the factory itself. And hopefully that will give us a nice boost of money, because we certainly need it. I have been neglecting the money making for a while. And the first time I took out a loan, I should have probably noticed that I did so and taken action. But I thought the oil refinery would be working the whole time. But it's not the case. We can't really supply that with workers. We need something that takes fewer workers and has a higher concentration of money-making capabilities. Electronics might be the thing to do. All of the high-tech industries that require a few resources to manufacture something more expensive, it's probably the way to go. I didn't do the math on electronics, I just assumed that it is going to be profitable. That's probably the wrong approach. So we are making 3.3 tons of electronics, and all of the components are less than that tonnage-wise. And each component needs to not cost more than a third of the electronics, so... let's see. Electronics sell for 11,000, so each component shall not exceed, let's say, 3,000. We need mechanical, electronic, and plastics. Electronic components cost a lot. That's expensive. Mechanical components and plastics. Plastics aren't the price range that I would have expected, but mechanical components and electronic components are really expensive. I didn't do the math properly. I just looked at it and it feels like this is not going to make us money. It's probably still going to make money. I just need to precisely calculate everything, but I don't want to do that. Alright, unload electronics here, pick up these from this warehouse. And yeah, we need to finish this facility and then we can finish the loop of what you need to do. Currently driving 2 trucks full of steel to the construction site. And another resource storage on fire. because why not? Bricks and boards and steel are very flammable. Seeing the traffic jam in Rovenduma is very discouraging for some reason. Mostly because I don't know what to do. Like, I can make the parking lots prettier, but if I want to do anything with the road infrastructure, I would have to start tearing up the residential area, and then Rovenduma would not be Rovenduma that much anymore. It would be turned into basically the commercial district. So maybe it's a better idea to stop thinking about Rovenduma and just not worry about it anymore. I also should try and fix this nonsense. Them trying to merge into a single lane that late is ridiculous. So merge into a single lane here. Now they're going to concentrate into a black hole, getting all of the cars into a single space. But they should now file a neat and tidy line of vehicles to move through the traffic light. Didn't think I'd have to do that, but apparently I did. Also, it looks like there's an ambulance heading this way. Otherwise they wouldn't drive through a red light, I don't think. Maybe it's fine. Traffic in this direction is kinda ridiculous. I don't know what they want in here. What do you want? You are going to buy food here. So you're telling me that people from the commercial district are heading towards Rovenduma to buy food and not here. That's ridiculous. You are heading to Rovenduma to buy food. You live here, so I guess you're coming from work and you're driving back home. Makes sense, I guess. Okay, sure, it's fine. Steel has been delivered. Let's get the factory set up and assigned for resource deliveries. I might have bought too large of a truck, but now I think 5.6 tons of electronics is just right. No drinking water. Right. Let's disable this for workers. Sewage and drinking water are not hooked up here. Well, we can drive the components in here already. So you may load electronics and unload the components to use for production. And we'll set up plumbing. Don't tell me this isn't a proper slope. I guess it is going uphill. And we're out of money again. Well, we can build stuff even without water. So they will just be less productive. Don't have a lot of internal storage for production in this facility. But the trucks are just large enough to fill that up. Oh my god, this road is horrible. I should disconnect it. I will disconnect it. They should just drive along here. I hope they can do that. It's only for Bit's personal vehicles. Maybe it wasn't that terrible. We just need to upgrade the roads. Let's put down gravel roads here. Making some electronics. Do have quite a good storage for export, but yeah, the resources present for production, not so great. Once we have water and sewage, well, just water technically, but once we have that in place, production should double. Production is actually quite good. I will turn off imports and turn it into exports of electronics. So now we're exporting 17 tons of electronics if they are here. Well, we'll export as much as we can, I guess. Because that's how exports work in this. Just need a train to do so. And then maybe this will make us a decent amount of money. And not create too much pollution. I don't know what to say here. Are there vehicles that are just trying to turn around here? No. They're all trying to head into large parking lots inside Rovoduma. So they're all trying to enter the city. Maybe I need to include this into the roundabout planning, so maybe this will be turned back into a double lane one-way road, but we also turn this into a one-way road, removing all traffic lights from the area. So vehicles that come from these parking lots will have to drive into town up here and enter, well, leave the area from up here. But that also means that this road is going to turn into a one-way road. And maybe that will help with traffic. It might just shift traffic issues further into the town. I don't know. Well, we are exporting electronics now, so we can remove that warning, I hope, and just carry over the electronics that we are making ourselves. We should probably keep those resources stored up a little bit more. Fill up the buildings to 70%, or send new resources if less than 70% are present. Guess we'll get another truck. A closer resource storage and then handling the deliveries of all of the components by truck is probably what we need to do. Just need to make sure to not have it in an area where traffic jams are happening frequently, like here. close to another clothing export. Electronics will export every 17 tons. Yeah, I think the electronics production is quite good. Still not sure if this is actually making us money. But we can now start adding to that, having an electronic components factory. We could make our own plastic, basically. We need 3 tons per day. And we can produce 6.6 in one plastics factory. The people living next to the power plant are not going to be very happy with all of the industry in this area. We have to see if we can recover our debt and return to the era where we actually had money. At least the amount we can borrow went up. Interest rate is still decreasing, so there is hope. Every future loan we are taking out is costing us a little bit less. And we also have an electronics factory here now. Not hooked up to any water and sewage. And this for later. Stop with the scares. Those meat deliveries over the bridge are apparently really hard to do. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you very much for watching. Hope next episode we can set up our tramline loop, finish the remaining tasks to get this get this area populated, and have some workers living here and provide them with water, heating. We still need to put up parking lots so they can actually drive here. I can put down some free parking lots with some cars and have like 8 or 12 cars for them to drive over there and provide the heating temporarily. But the main thing is to maybe set up the gravel processing once we have people living here and we know it is possible. But yeah, as I said, thank you very much for watching. Have a good rest to your Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And as always, maybe I'll see you next time.